You might have missed the news that the Sacramento Kings signed the reigning MVP of the Euroleague to come play for them this season. You might also not be familiar with Sasha Vezenkov and how he could fit with a team that surprised many by winning 48 games and might have just added the one piece they needed to get them into NBA title contention. The first thing you have to understand is that winning MVP of the Euroleague doesn't mean you're the best athlete isolating on guys and hitting all manner of ridiculous shots. With Vezenkov, he's the ultimate role player, with the threat of him spotting up for three-point shots being the main driver of his offense. And Olympiacos runs tons of movement in their offense, so he should fit in very well with the Kings' Princeton style that ranked them 8th in distance traveled on offense last year. Here's a clever inside ball screen on the right side with the real action, a flare screen for Vezenkov on the weak side, and you'll notice he hops a lot into his three-point shot, which I love. Here he is as the flare screener while the pick and roll draws the focus. The best way to combat a switching defense is setting blind screens, and it doesn't matter if he makes contact or not to find an open hop into another three that barely misses. Of course, they run plenty of Spain pick and roll, but in Europe, teams run a bunch of action beforehand to disguise it. They run Vezenkov off a UCLA cut to the low post, flow into an inside pick and roll before finding pistol action with the pin away into handoff out top. Vezenkov now steps up to back screen the handoffs man and gets him just enough daylight to nail this clutch triple to tie the game with under a minute left. Here's a more streamlined version where he simply hunts the ball screener's defender before popping out. The ball handler's man is late on his switch, and that's all the room Vezenkov needs. Here's an example of just how much movement Olympiacos would routinely get in their offense. A pin down into a handoff, another handoff with the ball screen, short roll, kick out, and while this doesn't happen often, it was good to see Sasha shot fake, sidestep, and find an opening off the dribble. It was fun watching this offense run so many actions that flowed seamlessly into each other. Even though there were a few catches that could have attacked, they had no problem using the whole shot clock to make the defense work until they got a low post entry, which sucked all the focus in that direction and allowed Vezenkov to pop out for another hop three that doesn't go down. Where I think he could be the most dangerous for the Kings is on the pick and pop when guards like De'Aaron Fox can get penetration, draw the help, and then find Vezenkov for great looks from behind the arc. The thing Mike Brown should be aware of is that it seems that Vezenkov shoots these better when flaring out to his right, which makes perfect sense since it enables his left hip and elbow to be more easily aligned to the hoop on the catch. So hopefully they adjust the offense to get him going in this direction a lot. This shouldn't be too hard since Fox is a lefty and it's a natural fit for these two to work together in the pick and roll. One thing that caught my eye about his jumper, other than the fact that he hops into a lot of them, is that he doesn't follow through on the majority of them. There are lots of shooting coaches who stress holding the follow through until the ball is halfway or even all the way to the rim. But throughout the last 15 years of studying this particular mechanic, I've seen a lot of players pull their arms down after the release, and it truly makes me think that holding your arm up isn't necessary. Of course, you will see him hold up his left arm in that picture-perfect pose on some of these, but we need to take a real look at how strongly we want to stress this particular shooting mechanic. When he does roll to the hoop, it becomes a different story. It seems he struggles mightily with athletic big men contesting him near the rim, as he'll get into awkward situations to avoid contact that lead to bad misses. And I fear NBA defenders will cause even more problems with his finishing, since he isn't the smoothest athlete and doesn't elevate well. If he does roll, he's much better off making these into fadeaway jump shots, where he can utilize his best skill to his advantage. On this play, he rolls and forces a switch and a mismatch. Rather than force his way amongst the trees, he was wise to release pressure back to the three-point line and just let this one fly right in Nikolaithis' face. Again, you won't see it a lot in the NBA, but he can put the ball on the floor after popping out, and without question, taking jump shots will be his best value. At 6'9", he does have some size to go down low and post up, but I'm not sure if he'll be very successful with it. I don't see any clever moves, just a lot of back downs and then turning over that right shoulder for the lefty hook. Like his rolls after screening the ball, he's much better off turning these into fadeaway jump shots over smaller defenders. Again, you won't see a lot of clever footwork, just using that shoulder to try and back down his defender and stepping through for a turnaround. At his size and athletic ability, I just don't see how he can make the post-up work based on the struggles I saw this season. He tries to back down his man, the defender is completely prepared for it, and just pulls the chair to force a turnover. Okay, maybe the defender added a little bit of a pull down with that right arm, but on this one, they're ready again for his lowering of the shoulder, and his man simply takes the hit and gets the call to force another turnover. Where he can also find ways to eat is with his cutting, and considering the Kings were 4th in the league in cut frequency, this is one way for him to be able to finish around the basket. He reads the defense well and has a good sense of timing of when and where to cut as he quickly gets to the hoop with a nice finish with his strong hand. Here's a sweet little play they run that starts with flex action but quickly turns into a slip ball screen, into a step-up screen, and instead of Vezenkov just standing in the corner for the 3, he cuts baseline. Nice dish from Thomas Walkup for the dunk. Here's Spain pick and roll with Vezenkov playing out of the weak side corner. Watch how he lifts to the wing that lures his man up and then backdoors for another nice dish and inside hand layup. But I am a little worried that on some of these cuts, pressure from the defense seems to really bother him. And if the defenders in the Euroleague can cause misses like this, then it's not a stretch to assume the NBA big man around the basket will make Vezenkov think twice about cutting to the hoop and finishing around the basket. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like he plays in the high post much, and it would seem to me he'd be perfect running all that nice elbow action that the Kings run with Sabonis, keeping their offense humming when Sabonis goes to the bench. His defense should also be a concern. While the Euroleague in general doesn't do a lot of isolations, there were plenty of possessions where the opponent would force a mismatch and just go at him, indicating that they know he's slow on his feet and is easily exploitable. His closeouts aren't great as well, and he has trouble getting to the ball and then watching as the man blows right by him into the lane. The Kings will have to support him with defenders at the other front court positions to help protect the rim if they want to limit the damage on this end. Of course, it's very hard to defend anybody in the league these days. Everyone gets beat, and it takes a team effort to cover when the ball penetrates into the lane. So he might not stand out as a completely negative defender, but the evidence from Euroleague isn't great. With everyone coming back from a team that pushed the Warriors to the brink in the first round, plus good pickups in Nerlens Noel and a low-key really good addition in Chris Duarte, the Kings are doing exactly what they need to take the next step up the ladder. And the one thing we do know about Sasha Vezenkov is that everywhere he's gone, he's been a winner.